Hi, welcome to Talk to Connect. This is Fatma, and our guest today is an amazing speaker. Stephanie Ward is the imperfect speaker. He has amazing motivational videos on Facebook and YouTube. He also coaches people to find their inner power. The imperfect speaker was one of the speakers on the Power Summit 2020 by Les Brown. He's helping people and inspiring people, finding their way, building their beliefs, and he has such an amazing journey and amazing story to share with us. So let's welcome the imperfect speaker. Hi, Stefan. How are you? Thank you for joining us. And I know your name in Facebook is Imperfect Speaker. I've been following you with your videos and your inspiration, and it's been quite empowering. I've had sessions with you, and I've been empowered. And thank you for your time. You've really empowered me, and I've learned a lot from you. Welcome to Talk to Connect, and the purpose of Talk to Connect is where we share our stories to inspire and empower others. I believe someone's story has a way to lighten someone to just take a step and change their lives. So I want to welcome you. If you just introduce yourself and share your story with us, it will be an honor. And there's so much I believe people will learn from you because I've been following for a while. So welcome.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on this platform. And, like you said, we've been having sessions together, and it's just been such a joy to work with you. So I'm honored to be on your platform to share my story. For those who don't know me, my name is Stephen Ward, the Imperfect Speaker. I am a motivational and inspirational speaker. I like to inspire others and motivate them and help people have that mind shift that, that could get them into just believing in themselves and trusting in themselves and becoming themselves to do what it is that they like to do and, eventually become happier and progress in life and be productive, just achieving their goals and their dreams.
Oh, that's amazing. So let me ask you, what is the one thing that just inspired you to start becoming a speaker, imperfect speaker? That's your title, and what actually, why that name? When I saw it the first time, I was like, okay, that is an interesting name. I need to know what was behind it.
Sure, and I get that question a lot, but just starting from the very beginning, I'm in a private sector of security, and I've had an extensive background inside of law enforcement. And I've worked inside the correctional facility as well as working on the streets. And I've come across a lot of great individuals, a lot of good people who sometimes make poor decisions. And, it's not until they find themselves inside that situation where, it's irreversible and they find themselves in trouble legally that they come up and they say, you know what, if I would have just listened to myself, if I just would have paid attention to a certain message or paid attention to some motivation that was given to them by maybe a family member or maybe even a stranger. And I realized that 80% of the individuals who say that are good individuals, but these poor decisions are because they don't have awareness. And then that's when I started to say, you know what, if more people started to have awareness that, to listen to themselves, to listen to that divine voice, to listen to that intuition, or maybe the messages that they're receiving that they may just think is mystical, but it's not really mystical. It's really something that's guiding them in the correct direction. They won't be inside the predicament in which they're in. And so from there, I started to, again, get into self-development. There was a point and period inside my life, financially, where I was just having some financial hiccups. And then I started to get into depression, and I had to build myself out. Now I became the student. I had to become the person that had to get myself out of that depression, listen to myself, and start to change my perception and start to change my way of thinking. So then that way I can build myself up and start thinking positive and more productive myself. So that's how I started to get into the motivational speaking. How did I name myself the Imperfect Speaker? Interesting question. I've always had a strong command presence. I've always had a strong voice. I've always liked to speak. However, I know that my journey, like everyone else's journey, is not perfect. And individuals who want to get into public speaking or motivational speaking, we see the professionals out there and we think that we have to be perfect. We think that we have to have some type of excellency in order for us to get into that field. However, I realize that I'm not perfect. Those individuals who speak out there are not perfect. But if you just believe you are a part of a bigger plan, you know, your journey is imperfect, but you are part of a bigger plan that was made out of perfection. And that's why I call myself the imperfect speaker, because my journey is imperfect. My journey may be imperfect, but I'm a part of a bigger plan from a higher power that was made out of perfection.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you. I want to agree with that, because I think a lot of people see themselves like not perfect because of what has happened in their lives or what they've gone through, and they feel like they're not as good as, they cannot be a better person. And just knowing that nobody's perfect, you're imperfect in so many ways, but you can be a better person whatever you're doing in life. That's amazing. So you talked about belief, and I think a lot of people don't know how much they're affected by their beliefs. A lot of people keep on blaming that I cannot do this and I cannot do that, and they blame other people for it. But I think a lot of people are just stuck to where they are because of their beliefs. So I want you just to share a little bit, because that's most of your talks are about people believing in themselves. So what can you tell people about their beliefs? Because I think the most thing that is holding us back, and me, when I was talking to you, one of the things I learned from you is that if you don't break your belief, you cannot be where you want to be, and you cannot do what you want to do. So what can you tell someone who's out there blaming others, not knowing that his beliefs are the ones that are holding them back?
Right. You know, unfortunately, when we grow up with this, we grow up with school systems that tell us how to believe. We grow up with parents, we grow up with traditions that tell us how to believe. And we have to realize that those beliefs are the limited beliefs of those individuals who were raising us at that point in time. And that may have been something that worked for them, but at some point in time, that may not be what works for you. And so what happens is that you have to grow up and you have to become this character. You have to create this own character, the character that you want to become. Because ever since you were younger, up until however age, you know, you may have been playing this script. And I like to call it, we want to rip up the old cinematic script. We want to rip up that script of the person that we've been playing, that's been following the beliefs of our school system, of our parents. We want to rip that script up. And we want to start to play out the script, the character that we would like to become. And in order to do that, unfortunately, if you've been playing that script for so long, that's who you are going to remind yourself of. That's who your subconscious is going to keep bringing up. And I like to use the example of, you know, growing up, just think of your favorite movie star growing up that you may have seen from playing a childhood, you know, that was playing a child, or it was just your favorite movie star when you was younger. When you grow up nowadays and you see that same individual, that same movie star playing a totally different role, you're going to automatically say, I know you as, even though they're playing a totally different role. And it's only because you're used to seeing that person playing that role for such a long time, such decades and decades. It's not that they're not doing a great job at the role in which they're playing now. It's just that you're used to seeing them as what you used to see them as. It's the same thing with us. If we play the same character that we've been playing for such a long time, when it's time for us to step outside of that and to become someone new, to play our new character, our subconscious says, oh, wait a minute, Fatima, you want to become different. Now you want to become this individual. Now you want to become a business owner. But I don't know you as being a business owner. I know you was working this 9 to 5, just doing this for such a long time. And you have to get yourself out of that. You have to rip up that old cinematic script of that character you used to be playing and play the new version of yourself.
Wow, that's so true. I love that. And I think most of us are holding our defining moments. We have so many things that have defined us in life. Experiences and all these things, and you're saying that's the picture that is working and is making us be stuck where we are right now. But then, okay, so someone will say, okay, you work out of your beliefs, and when you believe in yourself, you're gonna make it in life. But then there's so many things apart from beliefs that we need to work on. So when I'm listening to you talk, you're not talking about beliefs, they're talking about commitment, you're talking about loving yourself. And I think a lot of people lack that, just go inside and find the love for yourself and being committed to who you are. And there are people who are out there, someone who has potential, someone who can be a speaker, can be a coach or a businesswoman, but she just doesn't go out there because she doesn't believe. So what advice can you give to someone who feels like I'm not worth it, or I cannot be committed? Commitment is my problem. It's something that I cannot do.
You know what? That's good. And I think that in addition to belief, there's some other things that you want to do. And I think ultimately you want to be yourself. See, once you believe in yourself, you come up with this person that you want to become, that you would like to see yourself becoming. And then you want to be yourself. But in order for you to act as that person, you have to also trust in yourself. And so we may have belief. We may have this individual, okay, Stephen, you believe that you can go out there and you can speak. You believe that you can be the best speaker in the world, the best storyteller in the world. But what happens when it comes time for me to step up to the plate? What happens when it comes time for that opportunity? I don't take that opportunity. Why? It's not because I don't believe in myself, but now I don't trust myself. I don't trust that I'm going to get there. I don't trust that I'm going to step up to the plate and do what it is that I'm supposed to do. See, I believe that when you believe yourself and when you trust yourself in those moments, in those times when you have obstacles, in those times when you have the opportunities, then you can be yourself. And when you eventually be yourself, then, doors just open up. That's when you become happy. That's when you're able to walk anywhere. You're able to have any conversation with anyone. You're able to, just take on any challenge. Why? Because not only do I believe in myself and trust that I will do what it is that I need to do at that particular point in time, but now I can be myself and I don't have to be someone else. Because remember, when you was reading off of the script, that old character script, you wasn't being yourself. You really wasn't being yourself. You was playing a character of what you used to be playing or what someone told you who you were.
Wow, so that's amazing. That's true. So I think it's just the shift. You have to work to shift your mind, to have that shift mindset. So it's not just believing, it's just trusting in yourself. It's just seeing yourself being that person that you want to become. It's taking the time of having belief that I can commit, I trust in myself, and I have the capability of being who I want to be. And that's one advice you gave me. You told me, Fatima, you have to believe and you have to trust in yourself so that you can become the person that you want to become.
Yes.
For that. So
no problem.
One thing I learned from you is about journaling, and it was something that really opened my mind. A lot of people don't write about their stories, and when I was talking to you, you shared with me a very interesting way of writing a journal and how to see yourself achieving what you want.
Yes.
Please, if you don't mind, share that, because the importance of journaling first. What is the importance of journaling? And the way you showed me, it was like me seeing myself doing things that I never thought I could do, but at the same time encouraging myself to the present that, okay, this is what you want, but I'm talking to myself now. That was an amazing way of seeing myself in two places. So I would like you to share, if you don't mind, with our audience, like what's the importance of journaling your journey to where you want and writing your goals?
Absolutely. Well, journaling, first of all, what it does is it's you actually taking things from your mind and you actually write them down. So when you actually take things from your mind and you actually write them down, that's one of the steps towards moving towards momentum because that's something that's tangible. That's something that you can go back to. So, it's very important because you can think, I want to do this when I come home from work, I want to do X, Y, Z. But if you don't write it down and hold yourself accountable that way, you sort of kind of feel a little bit guilty if you come home and you just don't write it down and you decide not to do it because you're coming up with so many excuses. But if you have it written down, it's like, all right, Fatima, there's really no excuse why you can't do that because, you said that you wanted to do it. And then when you wrote it down, there was no excuses then. So that's one of the important things of writing things down. Another thing about the journaling that I like, the specific journaling that I do is that, Fatima, we all know that it's easier to probably give someone advice than to take our own advice. That's first and foremost. So you could be inside of a situation where, you might just be sporadic just in thinking. But if you were to give that same advice to someone else who was going through the same thing, it'll click better. So what I like to do is I like to create the vision journal using your desired self. And we spoke about that earlier. Your desired self is that version of you that you would love to become. And it's basically based off of this. If you was to journal to yourself 10 years from now, 10 years in the past, Fatima, what is it that you did in the past that got you to where you are now that you would like to celebrate? You might say, oh, I'm glad I went to college, because as a result of going to college, I'm able to do X, Y, Z. Now you take that same principle, and rather you be in the present right now, you give it to your desired self. So your desired self is the version of you 10 years from now. And that's the version that is giving you advice. Because remember, it's better for you to give advice, for you to give advice than to receive advice. So you're giving your own self advice. So therefore, what it is you say, Fatima, 10 years from now, you would like to become XYZ. And then every mistake or every challenge or every situation that you go through right now, you journal and you speak as if your desired self is talking to you. And it says, you know what, Fatima, I'm very glad that you exercised today. You do not realize that by exercising today, how you're going to look 3 years from now when you see me. You cannot see me. I can see me, but wait till you see me. You know what, Fatima, you did X, Y, Z, and you made a mistake. But you know what, by you making that mistake, you actually started. You got yourself out of analysis paralysis, where you just research, and you don't make any type of action or any type of momentum. Because you made that mistake, congratulate yourself, because you started. And as a result of starting and making that mistake, tomorrow you won't make that mistake, and you're going to become me closer sooner than you think you are. So that's one of the things, that's one of the beauties I like about journaling about your desired self.
Yeah, that's very true. And I want to add something else. It teaches you to acknowledge. I
Yes.
have to acknowledge my little things that I'm doing that are helping me get to my goal. Because whenever you acknowledge the fact that I did this and it led me to meet someone, or it led me to do something, you actually feel happy about yourself. It builds
Yes.
your confidence. And it's very powerful that you can acknowledge yourself. I think a lot of us are waiting for the big thing to come, so
Yes.
that big success, so that I can acknowledge. Your journaling helps people to see I'm doing small things, and their
Yes.
challenges, and how can I overcome them. When you acknowledge yourself, you always have the confidence.
Yes.
So one question that a lot of people are asking is, how do I get the courage? How do I get the courage to go out there and start and be who I want to be? Okay, maybe someone will say, you have experience, you've been there, you've been speaking to people, you've had experience to do this. How do I build my courage? And I think a lot of people lack that, especially when you come to youth and women. We come from society and we're being defined to exposed and being defined to different things. And a lot of people don't have the courage to just become what they want. So what would you tell someone? How do you build your courage? Because some people say, okay, you're lucky, maybe you had money, or you were born on the right side of the world, or maybe I am poor. How do you make someone, or what can you tell someone? How can they build their courage to just take that leap of faith and take their journey to the next level?
Great question. And you know what? It goes exactly with what you was just talking about when you was talking about the small wins. You see, when sometimes we lack the courage to start things because we're looking at the bigger picture. We're looking holistically, and we want to try to accomplish big things. We want to try to chew off big bites. But see, when we were kids, how did we know we was excelling when we was inside school, when we took tests? We got report cards. So therefore, if you was to go ahead and calculate your small wins by you looking at your journal, by you looking at your small wins, that's your report card. That's actually saying, Fatima, you've made it this far. Fatima, you've done X, Y, Z. And as that starts to accumulate, you will start to get the confidence and you will start to get the courage. But it just takes for you to just take action. Take a small step. You don't necessarily have to start big, but take some type of action. What did Nike say? Nike said, just do it. And all of the athletes that are very successful for Nike, no matter what type of strategy they have for themselves, they just took some type of action. They had to take some type of action to get them to this point, to get them to that point. It starts one step at a time. So when you do it one step at a time, one win at a time, Eventually, by the end of the month, when you pay attention to your journal, that's very important. That's your report card, because you're going to look back and your desired self is going to say, Fatima, you've actually done X, Y, Z. You did this, you did that. And that's how you build up that courage. That's how you build up that confidence. Small wins. We all have courage. I don't like it when people say that they don't have courage and they don't have confidence. We all have courage. We all have confidence. There are things that we have inside our life right now that taking courage and confidence to get. You just might feel like you don't have that courage and that confidence in what it is that you want to do right now. But everyone has courage and everyone has confidence. You just need to start small and you just itemize it. And as you start to grow, it'll start to build.
That's so true. That's so true. You only build the courage when you start taking baby steps. When you start doing small things, then you start seeing the results and your confidence will grow. That's so true. So I saw the Power Summit you did for Les Brown. And it was amazing when I saw people sharing their stories. And I feel a lot of people are ashamed or they're scared of sharing their stories. They don't want to share their experience in case what people will think of them. But as I started this platform, it was for the purpose of, if you share your story, you're going to inspire someone. So what would you say about that? Because I feel a lot of people don't want to share their stories. A lot of people feel like my story is not important. I haven't gone through this. Unless I've gone through hardship, that's the only time I can share my story. But you have such an amazing story, and I hope if you will share the story of the tiger. That's an amazing story. It's quite an interesting story, and I feel like people don't want to share. And the only way we get free and the only way we get to release and see ourselves is when we share and help someone else. Because when you see someone else being changed by your story, it empowers you, not only them, it also empowers you and makes you get the relief of what we were carrying. So what would you advise someone who feels like, okay, I cannot share my story because maybe people will think bad of me?
Well, it goes back to what you and I have talked about earlier, and it goes back to what we talked about during our sessions. The believe, the trust, to be yourself. If you're saying to yourself, I can't share my story, then that goes back to the belief. You don't even have belief that you are capable of sharing your story. You see, it goes back to the simple things. So once you have that belief, hey, listen, I literally can share my story. Now you just have to trust yourself. Again, when that opportunity comes, when I was going through the Les Brown, when I went through the Les Brown Summit, everyone was sharing their stories, and I brought up the story of Ming, the Siberian tiger from Harlem. That was taking a gamble because I had to believe that people would actually be receptive to that, because I was literally talking about a tiger, and I was talking about the tiger's life and correlating it to how some of the things that the tiger went through, if we learn from that, we can excel within our own life. But I had to trust myself, and I had to believe in myself that when the camera said, Stephen, you're on go, this is a Les Brown platform. Is this something that you want to do? Is this something that, are you sure you want to give this story? I had to trust myself, and I had to believe in myself. I had to believe that I was that speaker, the imperfect speaker. And I had to trust that my belief inside that story would help others. And then I had to go out there and trust myself and give it out and give it with conviction. And so therefore I had to be myself when I actually gave that story. So yes, that's I gave the story of Ming. If you haven't seen it, you can see it at Facebook at Stephen Ward. On my Facebook channel, you can go to the Les Brown. I also have the Imperfect Speaker YouTube channel. You can go in there and check it out. And it's funny you said that, because I have my my tiger here, my mug. Keep going, you got this. So I brand it. And you know why? Because I believe it. It goes back to belief. I believe it. So every morning that I wake up, that I have my tea, I have my coffee, I believe what it is that I'm going out there and I'm putting out there to others, because it's going to help them. Because I believe it myself. And you have to believe things yourself. In order for you to persuade someone else, it's not necessarily persuading them to believe in a story. You have to persuade them that you believe it. And because I believe in it, I can be myself, and I can help make other people, believe in it as well.
Yeah, that's very true. I think this is very important. I think a lot of people don't realize how much our limiting beliefs are holding us back to be
Yes.
successful. We are so much victims of our limiting beliefs that we are not good enough, or we cannot do it unless you believe. And I think there's nothing you can do if you don't believe in yourself. And
Right.
you haven't, if you haven't heard his story about the tiger, just follow him in Facebook. It's an amazing story that he gave in the summit. It's an amazing story. So one thing that I would ask you, you always give motivational speak. What something that you can tell people right now, just to motivate them? Someone who's watching right now, someone who's listening to you right now.
You know, we're still going through the pandemic. You know, 2020 was like a black eye, was like a sore eye. So my thing to everyone out there is don't wait. Don't wait. Just, you know, I like to preach, keep going, you got this, but more importantly, don't wait. When it comes to everything that we was talking about, just in terms of having courage of small steps, don't wait. Because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And you do have a story, and you were put here for a purpose. And you were put here with a purpose, so don't wait. That would be my thing for everyone in 2021. Whatever it is that you want to do, don't wait. Just don't wait.
That's so true. I think if there's something that 2020 has taught us, is that you have to seize the opportunities. You don't wait for them. If you have an opportunity, seize it, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. You're so right, and that's so true. A lot of people are waiting for the right time. There's no right time.
There's no such thing as the right time. Nope. Yep.
The right time is now. Whatever you want to do it now. Whether it's going to succeed or it's going to fail, the learnings that you get out of it is what's going to help you to become or achieve what you want.
Yes.
So in one sentence, if I will ask, who is imperfect speaker, what would that be?
The imperfect speaker is a father. The imperfect speaker is a God-fearing man. The imperfect speaker is the individual who wants everyone to just be themselves and open up their eyes, follow their desired self, listen to you, and be yourself.
That's amazing. And I think a lot of us miss that. We don't listen to ourselves. We listen to the noise outside us. We want to be loved, to be accepted, to feel that we belong. But unless you accept yourself and know your worth, know your value, nobody else can make you feel important. Right. That's always the first thing that when we were talking to you, told me, Fatma, you have to accept yourself. You've got to believe in who you are. Thank you so much for joining us. I think it's a pleasure having you here. And if anybody haven't seen Imperfect Speaker, he has such amazing talks and motivational videos in Facebook. Just follow him, and in YouTube. There's so much to learn from him. I've learned a lot from him. Thank you so much. And today, I think we've learned a lot. The best thing that we've learned is we've got to believe, we've got to trust, and we've got to have consistency in our life to become or achieve what we want. Thank you so much for taking your time, and I hope we'll have you soon on our platform, because there's so much talks that you have, and you'll share more with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Fatima. It's a pleasure. It really is a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.